Oh, wait, I'm
just
going to
gonna go
record
ahead.
the show. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna start the audio recording over, so I know what's pre-show, and so I mean I don't really do much at the end of the show anymore, because since we do
We're not
most of
funny
the
anymore.
talk
That
about
was
the
back in the day. We were funny. We're not funny anymore. But
Yeah, it used to be.
okay.
All right, so let's do a show, right? Welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 324. It's Friday night. We're hyped. We're happy to be here. It's gonna be active. I'm Ben Bumhofer, and this week, with me, mostly as always, is John Jagger.
Hello, Ben. Thank you. It's good to be back. I'm happy to be a part of the show. I'm happy to be returning to the table. I like to think that my time away has given me unique perspective on life, the game, and the energy level with which I bring to the show, as well as a manner of professionalism that you won't find anywhere else. But I'm not alone in this venture. As a matter of fact, we have a guest this week. His name is Marconin, and we're happy to welcome him back. Marconin, welcome to Azeroth Roundtable.
Thank you, John. I too am I am very excited to be here today. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. I actually forgot how to podcast with video. It's been so long. So to be back in the chair and the saddle again, as you might say, is quite refreshing. It's very good to be back. I'm very pleased. I'm nearly beside myself, excited to be joining two fine gentlemen again tonight, both as fellow podcasters, as colleagues, but also as friends.
Yes.
So thank you.
Well, that's really fantastic, Marcona. We're happy to have you here.
Oh, I love that sound effect. Love it.
And of course,
I don't
by
know.
that, Ben means it's just really a pleasure to be able to bring your voice to our voice, to create a symphonic podcast for the masses.
I would tend to agree.
Mm-hmm.
Quite.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, how's it going, Marcona? It's been a while since we've had you on.
I know it has been a while. It's been a few months. It's I can't keep it up. I have to get my energy level back up, or I'll probably fall asleep. So it's been good. It's been really good. I've been really busy with things changing ever since Triple T ended, and things have just been amping up at home, and with things going around here. But yeah, it's really good to come and join you guys. I'm glad that I was able to. I'm glad you asked, and the stars aligned this week where I got off work at a reasonable time and was able to make it. So I am very happy to be here and to see you guys again, because I miss you guys. Miss you guys a lot.
We miss you too. And it's one of the sad things of me not going to BlizzCon, John not entirely sure if he's going this year, and knowing that you'll be there, and you're so much closer than you are now. And I know I'm gonna miss you.
I know I'm gonna miss you guys too. I know you're not, like you said, you're not going. Not sure about John yet, but it's gonna be like you guys were some of the first friends I made at my first BlizzCon, and it's just as sure as as sure as the sun rises, you guys were there at BlizzCon, but I totally understand. I wasn't going to go until I just happened to get into the queue and actually get a ticket, and I still need to do the things, like find a hotel room. I need to find that. I need to get a book a flight. So right now I just have the ticket. That's all I have right now. So I have to figure out the rest pretty quick.
You know what? It's funny because a friend of mine earlier today, in fact, before the show, mentioned that don't worry, it'll work out. It all works out.
It'll work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Much like podcasting, planning a vacation, finding habitation on that vacation, and making sure that you are well taken care of for, I don't know, a week, maybe less, maybe more, is really something that's just best left to chance, and, it'll figure itself out.
Yeah. I'll just grab some dice and just roll them and see what happens. And
Oh,
just
man.
go with it.
There are
Wouldn't it be
people all
amazing?
over the place who don't have hotel rooms. I don't, as a matter of fact, I don't have a hotel room right now. I'm doing just fine. Ben, do you
Okay.
have a hotel room?
Currently, I don't have a hotel room.
No hotel room.
Yeah,
I am amongst friends.
He's
I
making
know
it
where I'm
work.
staying.
I feel
tonight,
much better.
which is good.
It works.
I've got a
itself out.
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
But one of the other things that I do miss sometimes is when my buddy John isn't on an episode of Azeroth Roundtable with me. And last week he wasn't here, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy spending time with Pat and Jason, but I do miss my friend John.
I heard it was a phenomenal episode, though.
People seem to like it.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, I was on it. I really can't be all like, hey, I thought it was the best one ever.
Sure, that was
but-
very generous of you, Ben, but I heard it was a phenomenal episode.
Yeah, well, like I said, I had fun. But the thing is, John, there is this whole idea that you kind of mentioned, and the fact that Marconin's just going to be rolling some dice has kind of brought that to fourth, into the front of my head here. I can't think of the right word because it's been a very long day.
Okay.
But it's something that's, I mean, heck, you and I, we've been doing this little thing called Dungeons and Dragons. That's a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
And
I've heard of that.
yeah, it's a game where you choose, you create characters and everything like that. What was this thing you were talking about, John, earlier today? Something that's there in that game that might be coming. Well, not might be coming, but is something that we could look at.
Well, Ben,
In the world of
let me talk to you for a minute. Let me set this up, and we can discuss this with our friend Marconin, who is our guest this week on Azeroth Roundtable. So the thing I was thinking about was, leveling has been a popular topic this week. It's been a significant topic, mostly because a survey being sent out about the World of Warcraft, the game the show, Azeroth Roundtable, is about, and it basically asked some questions, some survey questions that more or less said, hey, a level squish is going to happen in this game. And, that's something that we can discuss if we want. We can go down that rabbit hole. But one of the things that it got me thinking about was, how to encourage leveling. What is the right way to level? What is a good gift to give a player? What is a way to keep players wanting to level? Let's say they did a level squish. Let's say they took 120, cut it right in half, down to 60.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Ben, your genuine enthusiasm has motivated me to continue my point. So,
Please do.
Let's say that 60 levels, does that take as long as the current 120? What's the scale on that, I think is a pretty interesting question. Because, yeah, it solves the problem of I'd like to get something every level, but it doesn't exactly solve the problem of is it fun, is it daunting if it takes exactly as long as it would if it was 120 levels. And if it is shorter, and this is where we're getting to what Ben was setting up, if it is shorter, how can we encourage people to go and see the breadth of content that exists out there if they're getting through, what is the classic zones, not the classic zones, but, classic-ish zones.
New classic.
Yeah. If that's not taking them very long before they're jumping into Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King and then on, and then suddenly they're in current content, what makes that interesting? And I thought maybe now is the time to introduce the idea of multiclassing to World of Warcraft. And it doesn't have to be multiclassing in the Dungeons and Dragons sense, which is I'm now a rogue, I'm multiclass into priest, and now all of a sudden I'm a rogue and I got holy powers on top of it. That's probably going to be pretty hard to balance. That's probably going to be pretty hard to make everything play nice together. But even though achievements and things like that have allowed it to be less meaningful to have alts, you can still kind of pave the way a little bit for your alts. What if it was your actual main character with all the mounts, all the titles, everything they've unlocked, everything they've achieved, everything they've got, that was getting to go through and take another class and level it up as well on literally that same tune, and you could swap between the two. I have some crazier ideas, but let's get your guys' take on that idea before we go nuts.
Well, I just have to throw this out there right away because I know the first thought on everyone else's mind is, hey, John, you've been playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I have, but I haven't done multi-classing yet, or I haven't gotten multiple jobs yet. I stuck to one, and that's all I've been doing.
Okay. Well, okay. We could take a drink. Back when I started really playing MMOs in Final Fantasy XI, this idea of your same character doing everything was fantastic because you don't have to worry about like transferring money around. You don't have to worry about everything that comes into play, like okay, getting different reps, getting this, getting that, and everything. Because you could literally be every class, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I had a high level white mage, I had a high level summoner, I had a high level black mage, high level monk, and fighter. Like, you know, I did a lot of that game just leveling up through stuff. In that game specifically, not so great because the only way to level was to just fight stuff. And when you're in the same zones over and over again, you know, for the same levels over and over again, gets a little repetitive, a little boring.
Yeah.
So like that would be something that I think would need to work a little differently. But Marconin, what are your thoughts on this? Did you ever play like Final Fantasy or anything similar to that, where you can be everything on one character?
Well, kind of, sort of. I played the Matrix Online. Of course, I probably mentioned it a bunch. But when you could do that, you actually whenever you started, you were just a player, and as you leveled up, you could spec essentially into melee fighting, ranged combat. You could be a hacker, which is the healer slash caster, and you could be a coder, where you would create simulacrum, which is kind of like the pet classes. You could just send your pets, and all you need to do is you just go to a hard line, a telephone booth, and switch your spec out. You could just switch it as needed. There was crafting trees that you could switch to, and you just changed it on the fly. So for me in that game, that was very, very convenient. I really enjoyed that aspect of it because I had like my preset loadouts, and I could just say, and I had a macro where I just run up, load up coding. Now I can make clothes, or I can make weapons, sell them, and then go back through and go do some melee stuff and go run some missions or something. So it was very convenient in that way. And I had alts, but in that game it was even more monotonous to level than it is in WoW. And I'm working my Coltiran monk up,
Hmm.
because I used my 120 boost on the Coltiran Druid, or my 110 boost, so didn't get the heritage armor. So I saved up the daily 50% XP boost for 24 days so I could get a full 24 hours. And I've been blazing that monk up. He's 108, so he's in the final
Nice.
stretch. But these last few levels, man, to get through Legion is just a slog. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
oh gosh, it's tough. And to kind of go back to your issue about the level squish and getting people out into the world, for us players that have played for years and years, we know the world. We've been out there. Why would we want to go back out there? The only reason I go out there is for alts, and it's still the same old thing. And the YouTuber Bellular talked about it a while back, and one of his main statement that stuck out in my mind, he's like, put content in the old world. Give us reasons to go. Don't make us go through, force us to go through it. Give us something to go and do. It's kind of like the Chromie scenario, which I went and did again because it's a great way to get time warp badges, and just went and did that. That takes people down to Dragonblight for a reason. The things like the Mage Tower back in Legion.
Hmm.
That was awesome, and that gave you a reason to go do some different content. If they would sprinkle that content throughout the old world, I think that would go a long way to help bringing out some interest in those zones, at least just for the time that's current content or something like that. I do
Hmm.
like the idea of multi-classing as well. I really wish mages would get a little bit of healing magic in a way. I don't really see a lore reason why they would, but I would still like it. Or even like, I still would love a tanking class on a mage, just a shield based guy who would just hold, instead of being this big meat shield, have the mage just hold him using magical constructs to hold them back and keep them frozen so they don't attack the mage. I think that would be a great way to do that. So that's my little soapbox on there.
I'm
But I
telling
I
you.
really do think that even with the level switch, you made a really good point, John, about, is it going to take the same length of time? In which case it's going to feel like even more of a grind, because you're like, oh gosh, it's going to take me 2 hours to get this next level, instead of an hour to the next level, ooh, piece of candy, an hour to the next level, ooh, piece of candy. You're not getting any abilities, but you're getting the flash, you're getting the visual reward and auditory reward for leveling up. So I think if they would squish not only the levels, which I like having the big number next to my name. I like the 120. It shows that I did it. I have gone through all these levels, and then to squish it down to 60. Yeah, I understand why they're doing it, but it's, you're taking away something, and that's something that I really think that is something that MMO designers need to try to shy away from as much as possible, is taking things away. In the same way with flying, they do give you flying, but you have to experience the content first.
But wouldn't you say so? Here's the thing, and maybe we're just going to get into leveling Squish as a discussion, because it's definitely something that people get heated up about. Because I hear this all
Sure.
the time, like, "Oh, you're taking my levels away." No, they're not. They're not.
Not
And this
technically.
is the thing is, you're not all of a sudden, "Oh, I'm back to level 60. Time to go fight Gruul." Like, you're still exactly what you were before. A number has changed, and you say, well, I don't want them to take things away, but you've had so much taken away that a level squish allows them to finally actually give some things back, because that's the problem. Classic WoW, you get on there, you're getting something every level. Is it great every level? No. Can you afford it every level? No. as people will begin to find out, they're like, oh yeah,
the ranks.
Fireball rank 2. Don't mind if I don't have 2 silver. Great. This is not going well at all. But they have slowly removed that to where now most of the time you level, you get nothing. Sometimes you get a rank up. Sometimes the great unlock you get is you get to do a dungeon. I don't want to do a dungeon. The only reason I'm doing the dungeon is because it's the quicker way to level, because you've made the leveling so dumb. Like, that's the only reason the dungeon's a good reward, and it's not even that good of a reward. Great, I get to get yelled at in a different place. Woo. So, to me, I do understand the sort of my number used to be 120 and now it's 60, something's gone. But if they can take that to a place where when I level up, I get something cool and it feels meaningful and my character feels like it's actually improved, especially when compared to Battle for Azeroth, where you're like, ugh, I hit max level and now I suck. I was way stronger back in the day and now I'm awful.
Also, don't forget, every level in Battle for Azeroth, you get nothing.
Yeah. You get the satisfaction of the sound.
At 115, you lose your legendaries.
Right.
And then you really feel nerfed.
And so it feels like you're getting stuff taken away. And I understand, and I actually agree with the philosophy. MMO designers need to figure out a way to not take things away from players. And I think that's a good sentiment. But I think right now they've let themselves get into the weeds a bit with taking things away from players. For good or for bad. I mean, it sounds like you guys had a really productive talk about Classic last week. Generally, I feel like the game has moved into a position where it's a game I want to play. I'm more interested in playing. That said, it can still be improved, and a lot of stuff has been taken away from us. And maybe now, you cut that number in half and people go, oh, the number's not as big as it used to be. But that doesn't mean your damage numbers have to shrink. That doesn't mean you have to feel...
twice already.
True.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to
that.
feel any less powerful when you go and fight the Lich King, although actually, technically, with where that is right now, I do, because I was way quicker at killing him in Legion than I am in Battle for Azeroth. And that's the kind of thing that people notice. People go, as dumb as it is, oh, I was totally destroying Arthas. He didn't have even a second to put his little trap on the ground, and I didn't have to worry about it because I was killing him so fast because I'm too good. And now in Battle for Azeroth, he puts that little black mark on the ground, and you're like, okay, I don't stand there, or else I'm actually going to die in this dumb fight. And it's a little thing, but it's a little noticeable thing where you're like, oh, I lost something. I don't know what it is exactly, but I lost something because I could kick Arthas's ass yesterday, and now I still kick his ass, but I'm aware that I'm not as good as I was.
You're just making him feel better, giving him that little bump of self-esteem of,
Yeah.
oh, Arthas, you hurt me a little bit. Good job, buddy.
I had to move 10 feet to the side, or else you might have won.
There's that. But, so, here's my whole thought on it. And, I mean, granted, it's my personal opinion and everything, but I don't really see, level numbers as a thing. I don't really care anymore. It's either you're max level or you're not. So
Yeah.
who cares what the number is? And so okay, let's go with the whole they just slash it in half. So then we have a couple other things that we really need to look at on how this is going to play out. Does that mean that okay, so max level's level 60 again? Again, we're just throwing out numbers here because obviously nothing's been decided on. Does it take the same amount of time to get from 1 to 60 as it did to get from 1 to 120?
That's a good question, Ben.
Yeah.
And here is what I honestly think they should do. I think that okay, so let's say 55 to 60 is Battle for Azeroth. Okay, then 50 to 55, whatever. I don't care how it plays out. But the thing is that first chunk that used to be 1 to 60, you don't have to do nearly as much anymore. You have to do like just a few zones to kind of get through it. Because when Blizzard sells something that boosts you past every single one of those levels, it doesn't matter. John, you made this point a couple times on the show, saying that if there's a boost, if there's something in there, that content doesn't matter. There's not really a big reason to revisit it unless you're trying to get heritage armor. That's the only reason why we need to go back through that stuff if we have a main. Otherwise, if you have the cash, you can drop it on that. If you have the gold, you can buy WoW tokens, pay for that boost.
Mm-hmm.
Wait until the next expansion, use your free boost that you get. That's how this plays out. So, just make it trivial as it is right now. In current leveling, it's 20 levels to go through Northrend. Thank you. I couldn't remember what that place was called.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could help you out with that, Ben.
Place.
I appreciate that. But maybe you only make it 5 levels or something like that, and you can get those 5 levels just going through 1 or 2 zones. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know exactly how however many levels breaks out, but think about it. For the people who have already played this, they've done this content so many times before. If they're if they have multiple alts, if they've only played through it once and they want to play an alt, and the goal is to not level up all the way, you can still go through and do all the quests and get all the rewards and the story and stuff that you want. But it's trivial. It doesn't matter. There's no point in leveling up before current content anymore unless you're trying to get heritage armor.
Yeah. And it's not the best way to force us into it because I like I said I've been motoring through it, and even with the boost with the monk buff, I got through 60 to 80 going through most of Borean Tundra and then like half of Sholazar Basin. And that was it. That's all I needed. Then I was like, okay, Pandaria. So I did Pandaria all the way up from 80 to 90. Yeah, 80 to 90.
Yeah.
And then it took me 3 hours to get through, 3 or 4 hours to get through Warlords of Draenor, which was good. I'm glad to get through that quickly. And that was due to the XP nerfs that they did, a while back when they fixed that. They kind of tweaked it a few months back, but yeah, it's just there's no, like you said, it's trivial. There's no real reason for us to go back through there, other than heritage armor, which is just a slog. And man, I've done it. I've done the Lightforged Draenei, and I'm doing the Goltyrans, and now it's like, well, what am I going to do until 8.2 comes out? Because that's when I really want to play, is when the Gnome Heritage Armor comes out, because that'll be a cinch, because I've already got the prerequisites. But Mechagon, Nazjatar, all that cool stuff is still coming. But until then, what is there to do in the game if you don't raid or PvP? It's like level for Heritage Armor. Woo,
well, and that's the thing is you look at it and you sit there and you say, okay, well, leveling doesn't particularly matter, and if they do a squish, how do they avoid leveling not mattering all of a sudden again in just, a couple expansions from now? How is it that we don't run right back into this problem again? And I think the answer is you kind of make leveling just not necessarily that important anymore, period. There's a lot of things that I would be interested to see. What can they do? What does an expansion look like when they don't feel like they have to fill 10 levels worth of questing every single time, and that 10 levels has to be meaty. It's got to take this much. It's got to be this. It's got to be this. If they can take that time and resources and put it into crafting a more compelling, tighter story, crafting more armor just for us to wear. I mean, WoW is a game about getting loot, and it drives me wild that every single expansion, it's here's your 3 different variations of the questing armor. We're there for loot, and you're not giving us different looking loot. Like, that's a problem. That's ignoring a key piece of what your game is. Like, that should be where the investment is. I don't care if the drop that I got has a +5 to this between this zone and this zone, or this quest to this quest, but I do care if it looks different. If it looks different, I'm suddenly way more invested, because that's something that, especially with the transmog system, is a permanent upgrade to my character. If you give me a piece of gear that's item level, and I don't even remember what we're at the moment, but let's say 394,
almost 400,
and then I get another piece that goes in that same slot that's 395. Okay, that's fine. That lasts me for until I get 396. So
and it looks
what?
like the same thing you're already wearing.
Right. That's the point where it mattered, was back then. And so if they can focus on putting in upgrades and things of that nature that last not just for an hour of gameplay or 2 hours of gameplay, but something that's going to last me as long as I'm playing the game, that's a much bigger increase of value for me as a player. And, you know, not to be too hard on WoW, but I said this the other night on Core, and I really stand by it.
Core.
I am extremely invested in the characters of WoW. I'm extremely invested in the story in WoW, unhealthily so at times. I'm extremely invested in my faction, in the world of Azeroth, in the places we go, and the people we interact with. I love my armor. I love I love the titles that I get. I love so much about this game. And the only thing I really don't like is the gameplay. It's the only part of the game that I'm like, you know what? I could do without, because I feel I'm like, oh, that cutscene was amazing. And then I'm talking to Sylvanas. I'm like, you're amazing. And she's like, I know. Anyway, I need you to go do some evil stuff. And I'm like, I don't really feel like it, but I'm going to do it because I like you. And I'm just so into all these moments. And then she's like, okay, I need you to go right click 6 arrows on a beach. Oh, that's what
You're breathtaking.
What if she specifically said right-click 6 arrows on a beach, as opposed to gather some arrows for our archers champion?
But, I mean, like, that's the part where it breaks for me. And so I feel like a Blizzard that doesn't have to try to fill 10 levels worth of content and make you feel like, whoa, I really earned the XP on this business, is maybe a Blizzard that can cut the running around clicking stupid arrows on a beach quest from the game and maybe put something that's a little more interesting and a little more compelling in it. Like poop quests. We're going to remember that
Those
forever because you brought it up just now and I wanted to forget.
Sorry.
I can't forget, because in Northrend the name is Lupus Poopus. I can't forget that name. That's the name of the poop quest at least for the Alliance side. It's called Lupus Poopus, because you have to dig through wolf poop.
I don't think there was actually a horde poop quest in Northrend.
Oh, there wasn't?
We didn't have to do
I don't
that.
Oh,
think
you
so.
didn't have that.
No,
Oh, yeah.
we don't always have poop quests on the horde side.
We're above
wow.
the poop quests sometimes.
Sometimes.
Well, I never.
Like,
Make sure I'm not making that up. No,
Well,
that's right. Yeah.
there's a world quest in Vol'dun that has you like picking up hyena poop. Never did it at all until I did it on the Alliance side as a quest, and I'm like, oh, that's where okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they think about us over there in Irvine. Is Alliance is like, all right, give them the poop quest.
Oh no, it's more like they're willing to get their hands dirty. They're the bad guys
yeah.
after all.
Wow, way to really just fix that, Ben. You really turned that frown upside down on that outlook. They're the ones. They're the ones who will get down and dirty.
Well, when you say it like that, that just sounds even dirtier.
Yeah.
But so okay, I like the idea of multiclassing on your character when it's mixed in with the level Squish, because again, but like, that's only if we go with my idea behind it of, oh, you don't have to do everything in order to get to the
Right.
next area.
Yeah.
Because, if you're going through, by the way, Chrono Mage should be a thing that is a healer. I'm just always going to say that and believe that.
For
I
the
like
record, so far all I've said is you should be able to swap and level them separately. But we'll get to what you're talking about eventually, I'm sure.
I was actually segueing into that, but never mind. Go ahead, Mr. I'm the leader of the conversation.
Oh, well, if you want me to, fine. I'll go ahead and introduce it. Hey, guys, you want a crazy idea that you'll never be able to guess what it is?
Yeah.
So, there's a game called Star Wars The Old Republic.
What?
It's also an MMO. It exists in the world. It's fine.
Sounds interesting.
One of the cool things that happens in the Old Republic is that if you have leveled a character, now they don't have multi-classing, but they do have family trees and stuff like that, and account unlocks. And if you've leveled a character to maximum level of a specific class, when you play another character, you unlock a legacy power tied to whatever that previous class was. So the idea being that if you leveled a bounty hunter all the way up, your character, who might be the child of your original character or some other connection, was gifted a flamethrower gauntlet from the original character, and they said, here, you can have this. And you were like, this seems irresponsible because I'm a Jedi. And they were like, well, now you're a Jedi with a flamethrower. Go out there and get him. And you're like, hell yeah, I'm doing this. And it was a cool little unlock to get as sort of a, hey, here's a really cool thing you got for really trying that class, for really maxing it out and getting something. And I think I want that in WoW. Now, what I'm about to suggest is possibly the most imbalanced, unfair, would ruin PvP forever thing that ever existed. And I know, but damn it, it sounds fun to me. And so it's not my job to balance the game. I'm going to suggest what I want to suggest. And all of you people who are about to go, John, that's a terrible idea. I don't care. It sounds fun and I like it. What if, for example, if I leveled a rogue all the way up to max level and I unlocked the ability to stealth as whatever class I made next and started leveling as?
John, that's a fantastic idea, and I love it.
Yes! Got him! Now, this, of course, would be different abilities from different classes. It's not just stealthing. But I feel like, if I'm going to take an ability from the rogue class and give it to one... Yeah, you could make it pickpocket if you're a jerk.
Ooh.
But why not make it the cool one? Why not give a mage that sneaks around and then cast fireballs from the shadows? That's cool.
No. Let's take it this way. Let's go for the ultimate super stealth. So you also level up a feral druid and you get stealth from them. And then as a mage, I'm able to cast invisible on myself. So I have double stealth going as well as invisible, and nothing can see you.
You just blink out of existence.
Exactly. Yeah. You get all the Matrix back doors into wherever you want to go. You get that one in the hallway.
Yeah, you get the hallway in the white room, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a very interesting thing because it's a way of actually like linking characters together, which is, something that they were trying to do in the Old Republic, of course. And I like that it gives you some option. It might not be just like one particular thing from a class or something like that. Maybe you get to choose between 3 different things for the character that you're on. So like, let's say I did level my rogue and, obviously stealth is something that I can choose. Pickpocket, because you mentioned it. I don't know, Cloak of Shadows.
Oh, Cloak of Shadows. Yeah.
Yeah. And so based on whatever I'm playing as, whether I'm like a tank or maybe a mage or something like that, like, can you imagine being a warrior and being able to just Cloak of Shadows really quick and get all these like status things off of you? Like, use it as another form of whatever it's called, where you are able to mitigate, another way to mitigate like damage and stuff.
I like it.
Well, you came up with it, so yeah.
But I like it even as you're describing a scenario different from my own.
Oh. That's new.
Yeah.
I don't know, Marconin, can you see this? Like, is there something that, I mean, now correct me if I'm wrong, but you still mainly play a mage, right?
Correct. Yes, I do. I do still mainly play the mage, but I do have, I started raiding occasionally with my Ret and Prot Paladin as well.
Mhm.
So I play dabble in that, and of course, Alcoholic all the way. But and when John was talking about the things that you can pass down from one character to another, like if your next character was the father or the son of your first character, when you pass something down across the family, you know what they call those, right? They call those heirlooms. So in a way, we already have that.
No, we don't. Get out of here with that.
But
I do like the idea though, because my warlock is the little sister in my head of role playing of Marconin. They do have these relationships. They are, they do know each other. My characters do. So I have that up here, but if we could translate that into the game, I think that would be neat. I think that'd be a neat idea to roll in. I don't see how we could do it or do it in a way that's even close to being fairly
oh,
balanced
we
that
don't
you
talk
just
about
throw out
reality
the
on this
window.
show.
Yeah. I mean, just make it not available in PvP maybe, but then, I mean, the game doesn't have to be perfectly balanced. I think that's something that I'm constantly reminded of when I hear those it's not a bug lists for classic.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, this game was not perfectly balanced. There's some bugs in this thing. I mean, yeah, there's certain loadouts like Dwarf Priest is the way to go because of the whatever the thing I don't even remember, but there's certain ways to play the game because it's not balanced. And if we could put in these fun things, that's the thing, that if we could just make the game more fun without completely breaking balance, you can bend Fear Ward. Thank you, Sage Time.
Oh, I
That's
thought
the
it's
thing.
like Beardosity or something.
That too. They renamed it in like one of the alpha patches. But
Gotcha.
if they could just add more fun things to do in the game without completely destroying balance, have fun things for us to do. That's the thing with a lot of the new trinkets and ability items out of Crucible of Storms, is they're giving us cool additions to our abilities, something new to kind of customize. And I would love for any kind of little fun thing to do that we could put in the game, like the Mage Tower, like the Chromie scenario. We haven't really had anything like that in Battle for Azeroth yet. I think Mechagon is going to scratch that itch pretty well, because there's going to be a ton of stuff to do. It's like Timeless Isle. You can go out to that thing for another 3 expansions if you've got bad luck on the mounts or something like that, where you can just constantly go back and check. You can work on some other stuff. It gives you fun stuff to do. And I think that, going back to earlier about the leveling thing, if we could just put fun stuff out in the old world, that would give us reasons to go out. And it reminds me of yesterday when I kept getting completely ganked over and over in Stormheim, because there was a level 120 horde running around just killing people indiscriminately. Like, yeah, I know I turned on PvP for the XP buff, but there's tons of horde, and we just help each other on the quest because we're all going the same way. We're all there for the boost. But I was talking to a couple of the other Alliance players that are just waiting to respawn while this guy is running around, and it's like, man, I wish I could be that bored to go around and kill lobies. And he was like, and one person said it's because of the drought of content. It's like, there's nothing fun to do in the game right now. So left to their own devices, people will go and do those things. And I was like, you know what? I am very, very anxious for 8.2, because I'm not really, aside from raid night, which is fun. It's one night a week for me. The rest of the game is just leveling alts. And it's just like, well, I guess it feels more like work, and it's just for another set of armor. And so I think if we had more fun stuff to do, unconventional things to do, maybe even like some true heirloom items that if we work towards, if we had to do something fun and interesting to unlock something for all our characters, just more fun stuff to do in the game. That's why I think the Mage Tower, as frustrating as it was a great addition to the game.
Yeah, like, what if you leveled up your shaman to max level to give yourself water walking on all of your tunes?
I'd only be
That'd be
10
cool.
levels away. I would do that.
What
And then you
if
wouldn't need that stupid mount equipment that everybody's going to just put on their mounts.
What if heirlooms actually represented more the idea of a family heirloom and allowed you to be proficient in it even if it was a class that normally isn't. So you normally fight with a sword. Well, this sword's now going to have caster stats, and actually, I think casters can use swords. I don't know how casters
Yeah,
work,
well, some
honestly.
can. Some can.
But
Mages can.
But you can use it. You're proficient in it because it's a family heirloom.
Yeah, or like a two-handed sword that a mage can wield. That
Yeah.
would look weird.
Yeah.
But I would love it.
That'd be
It's
really cool.
But it's an heirloom.
That's
and
how you
it-
throw your fireball. You just go whip it around like.
And it's just while you're leveling up anyway, so who really cares that much about it? That's the thing, and I think I said it a while back, and I think, I believed at the time I was going to say it a lot more often, but I'll say it again now. Like, this game should be fun. And I get that we're in a place where it's like, well, we got the MDI, and we got to make sure that's all fair for everybody, and we got PvP, we got to make sure that's fair for everybody, and we need to make sure everyone has a fair experience going through. But sometimes it just makes the game feel so predictable and so like protected and in a weird little bubble that like all that craziness goes away. And this is something that we can get into maybe another week because it's a whole other topic late in the show. But you look at all these people that are getting so jazzed about Classic, and there's a lot of reasons that they're potentially getting excited about Classic. Maybe they never experienced it before. Maybe they're just extremely nostalgic. But regardless, that game is offering these players something. Whether we agree with it ultimately ourselves or not, there's something there that's calling to those people. Something that's a little more Wild West about those days where it was earlier and things weren't, exactly as routine and expected as they are today. And I kind of thought that people would get into that and say, oh, right, I remember how all this works. I'm bored. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing people that are just like still jazzed about how weird and crazy and bizarre that time in the game's history is. And you look at it and you go, guys, the lesson you need to take from this is that people don't want necessarily a perfectly packaged game that's just totally presentable to the world as like, no, this is a finished perfect product. They want something that's a little weird. They want to log into the world and who knows what's going to happen. And I'm not talking about bugs necessarily. I'm like, bugs can be fun. We certainly had our experiences of putting mounts on mounts or breaking into the Caverns of Time before the expansion opened it up and things like that. But there's just something unexpected about that era of the game. And it wasn't just a case of, oh, we didn't have Wowhead telling us everything. There was a genuine quality of that where things were just a little more wild. And I think the devs would do good to look at the popularity of Classic and say, what are the lessons we can learn from why people are into this product? And how can we put that into the expansions going forward?
So, talking about balance, are you saying that maybe PvP kind of broke some of the fun aspect of the game?
I think our feeling that, if the devs see, oh, everybody's running Horde and everybody's running exactly these classes for these racial bonuses and all of that, I think that that's not necessarily the failure they think it is. Like, this is going to be a controversial opinion, but when people say, I think PvP's boring because I feel like I have to blah, 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 then don't play it if you're bored. Like, I would rather, again, gonna earn the ire of PvPers, which is scary because they like killing people. But I would rather everybody else have a more interesting game and PvPers find it a little boring than everybody else has to suffer because PvPers want perfect balance, which is never going to exist anyway.
Unless you're Thanos.
And spoilers.
And even then, yeah, even then, only temporarily.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Endgame by now, I don't know what you're doing. I had a person at work that had not seen it yet, and I was like, "Why? Go,
I mean,
leaving theaters.
please."
Probably.
they gave a whole, like, here's the day where you can start spoiling it.
Yeah.
I wish more movies did that, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna say that it was perfect and there weren't people out there spoiling it before that day, because I know it happened, but it was really nice for the people who created the movie to say, this is the deadline. You have until this day, and then at that point, people can talk about it. We're allowing it, and you're on your own. That's what you had.
MacGyver, in that case, it's really drab and everyone stays dead.
Yeah, it was like 3 hours of just gut-wrenchingly boring content.
And basically, the hero's just crying for 3 hours.
They sat around and talked about how depressing it all was. But,
yeah, it was really just a big therapy session for like the audience and the people on the screen. It worked out really well. That's why it's so well received.
Yeah, I cried. I let everything just out, and it was just a good, wholesome 11-year in the making cry.
Yeah. Except Spider-Man comes back because he's got a movie in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Spider-Man comes back because it turns out he didn't actually turn to dust. He turned into a bunch of spiders.
Yeah, and then they just recombined afterwards. Yeah.
He was not Spider-Man. It was actually the character Spiders Man,
which is an actual character.
Yeah, that is a real character.
it's a whole flock of spiders who think they're Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, that is who that is.
And
comic books, man.
They can form together
to. Crazy. It
yeah.
comes out on Blu-ray soon, MacGyver. So you should. They're pumping that thing out quick.
Yeah.
I remember it used to take months and months and months for it to come out. But I think it's coming out in August or September or something like that. No time at all.
I gotta call it out. It seems like you're gonna turn into dust any time now, Marconin, because you've been roboting on and off this whole episode. It's been interesting, but we can still understand you, so we're fine.
You've been an understandable robot, but a robot nonetheless.
Exactly. But anyways, so going back to ruining it for PvPers. Hey John, what if you were able to multi-class in a way that you have like a subclass? There was a game called Final Fantasy XI.
Oh, go on.
Where you basically had your class and your subclass. You had your main class, which is what you were. So if I was a white mage, that would be my main class. I'm healing. You can equip a subclass. It can be any of the classes. And depending on what you have, you have access to half that level of ability. So like if I'm a level 60 white mage, the highest I could be on anything else is a level 30, assuming I've leveled it up to that. Imagine in PvP running around as a warrior, and then you're like, oh, it's a warrior. Look at that silhouette. He's got a giant sword and everything. And then he starts throwing fireballs at you.
Oh, man. That seems like that would upset the PvPers. Ben, aren't you worried about upsetting the PvPers?
No, because I think secretly they think it'd be a lot of fun. It would totally destroy PvP in a way other than just pure min-maxing. Because, there are going to be the people who are like, oh yeah, I'm a mage warlock, and I can do a fear as well as a thing, and then a sheep, and then this and that, and then they're going to find a way to exploit every single combination of everything that you can possibly do.
That said, I already see Warlock Paladin in the chat, and I think that's probably it.
That's called the Death Knight.
That's probably the answer. Yeah, but like, but this is like a non-balanced Death Knight. This is like, oops, we broke it.
Oh. Yeah, a bubble health drain. Okay, I win. Like that. That's it. But something like that. It adds more to the game because again, throw it in with the level squish that we've been talking about, and that the only person in this conversation, ever proposed, which was no, I'm kidding. It gives you the opportunity to level multiple classes on the same character, see a lot more of the content that way with a squish in place. And then on top of that, making PvP really interesting because you never have any idea what you'll actually show up against.
Yeah.
So
Unless
it's a really
it's
interesting thought.
3 Warlock Paladins every single time.
Well, and then if it is, guess what? That's what's going to be min-max, and everybody's going to just be doing it.
That's like, wouldn't it be? I don't 40v40. know. This is gonna get probably the PvPers were probably like, oh, that John saying stuff to get us riled up. This would probably be the thing that I'd actually get upset PvPers with me, is I'd just be like, it's anything Paladin, right?
Yeah,
much. Because the big strength of Paladin is you can't kill it. I know people can kill Paladins. I can't. It's fine. I'm not good at PvP. Anyway, paladins can't kill them, but they don't do anything. Like, you just sit there not killing them, and they look at you like a dumb cow, and you're just like, all right, I guess I'll go do something else now, because you're stupid and unkillable. And you wander off. But so you add anything with paladin, and all of a sudden it becomes super powerful.
So basically, you're saying that Warladins are the way to go.
Yeah, I think Rogadins, Warladins, both versions of it. Palalox, Munkadins.
What if you can subclass the same class so you can double? I'm a Paladin.
A paladin.
Pow paladin.
They still can't kill you. They just sit there forever, just like chewing on food. They're just like, well, you just hit them.
Sorry, that Power Wheels thing just killed.
It took you back, didn't it?
Yes.
I dipped into the well for that one.
Ben's a little kid.
Okay,
again.
so instead of just like 2 different classes, what about 2 different specs of any class all put together?
So they
I don't know.
So they would go.
What's about that?
They go tank and healer, and they're just like,
Yeah.
what now?
But again, both paladin specs.
Yeah. They're like, just wait until they let us do all 3. We'll actually be able to hurt you. Just wait. It's coming. We're gonna bring the pain one day.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be with an Ashbringer. Woo, it'll be
Is
good.
the class that's
You and
the
every other
closest-
paladin.
Yeah. So is the class that's the closest to being able to actually play every spec at one time a druid?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say so.
I know last expansion they had the thing where it's like you can choose which other talent tree you want to like dip into. Is that still a thing this expansion? I mean, neither of you play druid, so
Yeah,
who knows,
I
but-
don't know.
Well, I mean, I leveled one up to 120 from 110 to 120, but that's I haven't done much with her. She's
okay.
honestly she's another character that I attempt to get mounts with every week, so that's about it. You know. Plus,
Yeah,
I wanted a Coltirian Druid like every other Alliance player did.
Yeah,
I think druids can't multiclass. I think they just gain a new ability on their hotbar that says "Be Smug."
Well, I think some of the talents will let you dip into. I know with Feral it'll let you dip into the healing because I can heal myself with combo points.
Yeah, you can dip into healing, balanced, or
yeah, and balance too because I can do
Guardian.
the whatever the ranged attack is, the ranged
the sun
star
moonbeam
thing, moonbeam thing. Yeah,
We know druids, people.
Druid was my first character. Can't you,
You
tell?
turn into different animals
Druid
and maybe
was
a tree.
my
It's just
second
crazy.
character.
I don't know what I look like today.
Okay, so would you rather be a paluid or a druid?
A Paluid.
Paluid, yeah, there we
Paluid.
go.
The Paluid.
the paladin that shapeshifts into a tree.
Turns into a tree and his sword and shield just clang to the floor. Like,
He just,
Jimmy, what are you doing?
He just turns into it turns into a target dummy.
Yes. Jimmy, if you don't like it, leave.
That would be the mage tanking. It would polymorph training dummy, or that's what it would be.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing. Polymorph training dummy, and then you just attack the crap out of it. Like it only lasts for like 5 seconds or something, but it's your mitigation. You just it's gonna do a really big attack. Foomp.
Exactly. Mage
that'd be
tanking.
cool.
It needs to happen.
Man, they could do some crazy things if they would just like invest 7 years into the mage class.
Like, they just need to walk into whoever designs the mages and sit them down and be like, "Okay, Tony, go. Just whatever you want to do, just go.
Just
Like,
okay.
we'll see you next week. Go. Whatever
Okay.
you want."
Tony, we have one rule. Magic.
Yep.
That's such a
Go.
cool idea, though. Like a transmutation mage that just like their whole big thing is they like buff themselves and can take like
Yeah.
heavy damage. Like, oh my god.
Or put on
that's
like big shields or something, just have them like, like the Dalaran shield that was around Dalaran Crater during Classic. That kind of stuff, that level of magic, either restrain the big baddie from hitting him or making him miss. Like you could do something like cast like incorporeal stats on him to where he would just like swoosh right through you.
Or
he'd be,
like you take like maybe
out
a
of
quarter of the
phase.
damage or something like that to help mitigate it or something.
They could look
It
like
would be so awesome. It's kind of like a Monk tank.
magic version of the Green Lantern. Like they're not.
Yeah,
they like summon some giant thing and they hit you with it. Like it's not that they're flinging spells necessarily. It's just like, I transmuted a rock fist. I punch you in the damn face. There you go.
And then a race car.
Yeah.
On a track.
Oh, they transmute their own mount. That's cool.
Oh man, yeah, that would be so cool.
Oh, we just invented a class that's really cool and it doesn't exist, and I'm sad
Called
about it.
Watch Full Metal Alchemist, people. Brotherhood.
Yeah.
But no, something like that would actually be really, really cool. Just to be able to take things around you and like depending on where you go, like the fist is made out of some different thing or something. If you're doing some sort of really cool attack, instead of maybe a giant fist, like other stuff just like flies from tree. I don't know. I'm making stuff up now. Who knows? But I don't know. Just different things like that could be really cool and fun. And again, it adds so much more flavor in just visual, like, a visual feast for you.
Yeah.
You can see all this cool stuff going on and everything, and it'd be kind of, very unique. But again, every class needs to have something that is like just crazy at some point.
But you're defeated by the color yellow.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
That's really weird.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah, but it shows up.
Man, it was a bummer when Green Lantern got run over by that school bus.
Bummer when Green Lantern accidentally
Slipped on a
dribbled some
banana.
pee down his own leg and died.
I was gonna go slipping on a banana peel, but okay.
Well, I mean, there's that too. But I mean, because
A little less dramatic.
he drinks a lot of soda, so
Yeah, well,
What the hell, John?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You
Look,
asked.
if the Green
Look,
Lantern-
I've got the maturity of a 12-year-old, and you tell me Green Lantern's weak to yellow, and the very first thought is pee on him, and then we get him. And that's.
But what if Sinestro was very well hydrated? It wouldn't work.
No, you gotta stay off water for a little bit if you're gonna fight Green Lantern.
All right, Red
man.
Lantern Corps. No more fluids.
Oh,
We're going to Earth in a few days.
jeez, they got a better option.
All I picture now is just like like a Green Lantern cartoon, but at the end there's like the GI Joe, like teaching moments and everything like that. Just Hal Jordan's out there. It's like, yeah, some people recommend not eating yellow snow. I say just stay away from it entirely. And then yellow snowball hits him in the face.
Knowing is half the battle.
Hold on, I clearly don't know enough about Green Lantern here. So when they say his weakness is yellow, how does that work? Does he get touched by yellow and he's just like, no?
No, I think it's because it's fear. That's like the yellow core is fear.
Well, I get that there's a whole other Lantern Corps, but like they don't ever say like their weakness is the yellow Lantern Corps. Like they say yellow. What does yellow do to him?
Well, yellow represents fear. And what's going to break your will is fear.
So if he picks up a pencil, is he scared?
I don't know. I don't really know a lot about Green Lantern. I'm just going off of what kind of makes sense. I don't think it's actually like the color yellow. I think it's more of what it represents.
If you dump yellow paint on Hal Jordan, what happens to him? Is he just
he's covered in yellow paint?
Covered in yellow paint.
That's it? He doesn't just he doesn't melt or anything?
No.
That'd be pretty amazing though.
All right, well, this is right up with Aquaman talking to fish as far as like a misunderstood superpower, because I always thought yellow was just like, I mean, I wanted to imagine that it just invited like bad things, like the pee example. He peed on his leg a little bit, and he was like, no, and he went to wipe it off and hit his head on the counter, and like They just found him with a head gash bleeding on the floor. They had to put
What
two and
happened?
two together.
Yeah, it could happen.
Batman solved it, and it was very embarrassing for him.
Yeah. Well, it's like MacGyver said. It's like the Doctor's sonic screwdriver not working on wood. It just did.
Doesn't
Wait a
work
minute.
because
He
the
said that like a
process-
real sensible thing. That does. So wait, if he tries to use Green Lantern on yellow, it doesn't work. So if he wants to make the Green Hand pick up yellow paint, what happens?
He would need a Blue Lantern to help.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the Blue Lantern Corps. They represent hope.
Oh, I thought they
So-
represented sadness.
No, it's the blue light of hope. Hope amplifies will.
Oh, okay.
He'll have the willpower to clean up his own pee, and the hope that he won't slip and fall and crack his head on the toilet.
I know
So
red
basically-
is fear, and that's because it has a cat on the team.
No, red is rage.
Oh, rage.
Yellow is fear.
Oh, yeah, you guys were saying that earlier. Okay, I should have
Yeah, I
remembered
know
that
that-
from when you literally just told me.
I know that white is life and black is death. That's
Yeah.
the limit of what I know.
That's
Orange is avarice or
Racist.
greed, and there's only one orange lantern.
That's dumb. There should be more than one. Orange is a fine color. Why do they only want one?
Because it's based on greed. It has to be his. It's mine, mine, mine.
Yeah, but what if
It
they
could only
were
be one.
spaced out really far?
Well, no, because then someone's gonna want all of the orange rings.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
they're
it's
hoarding
a-
it all
Universe
for
gonna just kill
themselves.
everybody else.
Look, I get that. I'm
Mhm.
just saying, like, it's a big universe. You could. How do you know? Have you been from one side of the universe to the other? Maybe there's two of them thinking they're the only ones.
Twice.
I have.
Jeez,
twice.
you guys get around. I feel lazy by comparison. Okay,
Well, That's what
so
happens when you're the Flash and you can run everywhere, like in space.
I played that
Across the
DC
universe in a
Universe,
femtosecond.
the DC Universe Online MMO, and I made a character that was a Kryptonian that was a part of the Green Lantern Corps. Is that not the most OP character that ever existed? Your thoughts?
Well, it depends.
very
Did
close.
the Kryptonian absorb radiation from a yellow sun?
Yes, this was on
question.
Earth. Yeah.
Oh, then therefore, yes.
Then yes. Yeah.
I like to think I won the game at the character select screen. I didn't need to go any further. I was like, I made something better than Superman. What else do you want?
Yeah, and then much like combining different powers, I love the idea of being able to multi-class in WoW. I think it's going to be really amazing.
Mm-hmm. And
I
then
do
we
too.
just give him Mr. Freeze's gun and we're done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of being done, Marconin, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Azeroth Roundtable, where we discuss all things Lantern Corps.
Yep.
Until
Thank
next
you to all of our DC sponsors. It was a pleasure being here.
Can you do the Green Lantern Oath as a sign off? Without looking it up. You can't look it up. I
oh
want you
my
to do
gosh.
it from memory.
I don't
It starts in Brightest Day.
in brightest day and darkest night.
I don't
Gosh.
know if that's how it starts.
No
but
evil
it's in there
shall
somewhere.
leave my sight. Something. I almost had the Blue Lantern.
I
Corps
wish I
memorized
may.
'cause
I
like
wish I
those.
might.
Lanterns, we're all right.
Nailed it.
And scene.
Marconin, until next time we get you on, where can people find you?
You can find me mostly on Twitter when I can. On there, it's at Marconin Wow. That's MarConinWow. It's usually me talking about getting a mount in WoW, or talking about fun stuff, or pictures of my cats and my dog. So that's, if you like any of those things, that's pretty much it.
Very cool. John, what about you? What ring would you, or what color ring would you wear, and where can people find you?
I am actually the only orange lantern. I just found out today. I'm really excited about it because I thought maybe this was a big universe and there might be more than one, but there isn't. My two friends assured me of it, and I can just.
I don't know.
I know you're sitting by my strength. My greed exists in all places. Why is orange the color of greed?
Because
Because they already used green and they realized their mistake too late. They were like, ah, crap. Hey, everybody. John here at the end of the show, letting you know where you can find me on Twitter at John_Jagger. I'm doing this show most of the time. I also do a little show called Core.
Gore.
That's a it's a video game show, part of the Frog Pants Network. You can find out more about that at frogpants.com. I guess I'll just send you to the general website for some reason. Whatever. There Will Be Dungeons is also a Dungeons and Dragons show that I do. Therewillbedungeons.com for information on that. It's a good show. Last week we had a fight that ended with one person having only one hit point. Spoilers. You'll figure it out.
Wow.
Anyway, it's a great show. Ben,
Yes, John.
you should tell people where they can find you.
All right. Well, looking at this, I would probably pick indigo for my lantern color.
Is there a purple lantern? What do they do? Hold on.
That would be indigo. And
no,
John,
you
it's
don't.
not you.
You don't get it because I'm in that core now.
Star Sapphire.
John, it's compassion. That is not you.
What? Why is it compassion?
Because that's the definition of it.
They got all their colors wrong.
Okay. Anyway,
Green should have been greed. Orange should have been rage. Red should have been passion. What's the color for passion?
there is no color for passion.
All right, well, now they got one. You don't see them because they're just too busy protecting the universe and making out. Ben, where can people find you?
The best place to find me is on Twitter. I am at Ben Bumhofer. I also do a show with Lucha called Boxfort, which is on boxfortshow.com. We're going to get another episode up there soon. We've been busy. We've been doing stuff. Life happens. Also, I have another thing coming out with Ryan Reeder, also known as TBK Zord. We were hoping it's going to come out on the 17th, but I don't think it's going to be ready by then, but it'll be out soon. Once we do get that out, we'll let you know. Other than that, though, this show, Azeroth Roundtable, you can find us on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. If you have any questions, comments, want to tell us why we are so wrong or so right about the level squish, you can send those emails to azerothroundtable@gmail.com. If you want to tell us what your Lantern Core is, just because, you can send it there too. Also, if you like this episode and want to hear more, you can check out every other episode that we have ever created on azerothroundtable.com, as well as on like iTunes, Spotify, a whole bunch of other places that actually do, like podcast hosting and stuff. And of course, one of the big things, last but not least, that I don't want to miss is that we actually do stream this show live almost every Friday night, generally around 8 p.m. Pacific. When it's in the wintertime, we change because Arizona. Deal with it. But anyways, that's on twitch.tv/AzerothRT.
Did you know that there is a love-related color for Green Lantern? It's violet is love.
Oh.
I did.
What do you think of that, Ben? Where do you land on violet?
I think that's good.
I didn't think violet was pink. I mean, I know violet is violet. That's the answer to that statement. But remember in Willy Wonka, she kind of turns purple, and the violet, you're turning violet. Violet, remember that?
Yeah, I do. I remember that quite well.
She was not turning pink.
No.
Do I have a misunderstanding of what the color violet is?
I think you might, although I remember it being sort of purplish too. Because remember, it's Roy G. Biv, the V is for violet, which is purple.
Yeah. I feel like some shenanigans are going here. I feel like they didn't want to do the Pink Lantern Corps, which is fine. Like they got embarrassed and they got ashamed, and I think they should own it. Anyway, thank you to our patrons. Patreon.com/AzerothRT is where you can go to learn more about the Green Lantern Corps by supporting this show so that we continue to talk about it. And we'd like to give a big thank you to everybody who supports us. Special shout out goes to the Murloc Club. That is Aaron, Birschkaber, Brandon O, Haster, Jesse O, Caleb M, and Sash. Thank you so much for being part of the Murloc Club, and thank you to all our patrons for supporting us. What core do you think a Murloc would be in, Ben?
Ooh, that's a good question. If I had to pick, I would probably say black, because all they deal with is death. Their own, as well as trying to give it to others.
Could be compassion because they know the horribleness of being killed by lobies all across the low level zones, so they would have the
Or red
compassion for others.
rage because they
Rage is good
hate
too.
it. I think
That's
rage.
Yeah.
true.
Let's go with
I think
rage.
rage would be the good one.
Yeah.
Man, would you read a comic about all the Murlocs and all the various Green Lantern cores?
Would it be in the Murloc language or would it be translated?
Be in the Murloc language.
Then yes.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
And with that, this has been a fantastic, fun time, Marconin. Thank you very much for joining us. Chat room, thank you as well. I'm glad that we all got a nice little education on the different Lantern cores. And as Telenoid says in the chat room, just because Earth love is pink doesn't mean Galaxy love is pink. Good call on that.
Oh, I completely agree with that. I'm just saying that they have colored here the color violet. Marconin gave us a wiki to look at to help us out. Because he's helpful like that. And they have indigo/compassion written clearly in purple. And they have violet/love clearly written in pink.
It may just be that their choice of colors in the coding wasn't good.
It could be. Maybe that's a good job, John. Maybe that's more of a light purple. Yes. But with
Now you know
that,
what it
thank you
sounds
again
like.
for joining us. Until next time, follow a little bit of that indigo lantern core and be good to each other. Bye, everybody.
It says right at the top here that this page needs to be cleaned up, and it's got Shaggy Batman telling us this, and I feel like we should all go along with that. We need to clean it up a little bit.
Shaggy Batman, like part of Scooby Gang?
I coughed again. I'm sorry. I
It's
can't
okay.
help it. It's at the end. I'm stopping the recording now. They won't hear any more coughs after that. I was too slow. I'm sorry. YouTube, I lied to you. Please don't downvote. Bye.